We good to go? Hello, thank you for joining us at one of the Red sessions. Today's session, or this session, is about on the topic of does your game need to be streamable to sell? My name is Matthew, I'm from Rock Paper Shotgun. I do the video stuff, so we are doing some streaming, but I have three people who have much more interesting ideas on the value of streaming to publishers and game makers in general. I'm going to let them each introduce themselves and just tell us who they are and a little bit about their background.
Shall I go first?
Go first, Mike.
Oh, thank you. Hi, I'm Mike. Mike Rose. I run a publishing label called No More Robots. That's it. Go.
Okay, I'm Stephanie. I'm from Game Drive, and actually we market a lot of indie games, so that's what I do.
And I'm Alexander Slawinski. I handle operations for Bithell Games, which is by Mike Bithell.
That makes sense. I love what he did with the name. That's good. So I guess like the broadest place to start is, you know, what your personal experiences are with streaming or promoting streaming or using streaming. You know, whether you've had successes or failures, and yeah, let's take it from there. I mean, Mike, you obviously started. You've had a lot of success in this area. So do you want to start? Tell us a little about Descenders.
Yeah, I've had an up and down relationship with streaming where it's been really important to stuff I've done, and then it's been super not important, then it's been important again. Years ago, when I was at Tiny Build, we sold a bunch of games with streaming. When we did the Punch Club launch, we did a Twitch Plays Punch Club, and it made the game sell a bajillion copies. And we did a bunch of other stuff with the games as well. Then Twitch, I believe, started being less useful. People now when loads of big streamers play our games on Twitch, for example, we just put out this game Not Tonight. Loads of massive streamers are playing it, and it's great. And you can see that there's a sort of like slight murmur, higher level of people buying it, maybe because of that. But it's nothing like if someone like Lyric, who's got like 25,000 concurrents, plays the game. I see no spike or anything for sales. So right now, I'm a person who's a little bit in the lull of streaming, where I'm like, it's cool. I still love streaming and I still love Twitch. It's just less useful for what I do. But that might just be me. So
That's actually pretty surprising. When
is it?
When did that start? Sorry, now I'm hijacking.
No, please.
No, yeah, go for it. This is what we want.
No, when did that start happening? Because you know, it's the same thing with YouTubers, right? Like once upon a time, you know, if your game was featured by like a major YouTuber, sold a bajillion copies, just like you said, and now you can have, you know, a gaggle of YouTubers.
Gaggle of YouTubers, that's what it's officially called.
It's a screech.
A scrinch?
A screech.
Oh, wow.
A screech.
Wow, that's good, though.
A screech of YouTubers can cover your game now. Doesn't make a dent. Like, it's... So, I don't know what happened there, because it happened with YouTube, now it happened with Twitch, and we'll see what the next Discord. How's Discord? Discord's doing well for you.
What were you look like you were going to say something?
No, I wanted to say I agree. The sale thing, the spikes are up, but what we actually are seeing is when it's really a niche one, and it really is not about the person doing the stream and being funny or whatsoever. And it's really about the game, and you have that same public, like if it's shooter and you have a guy only playing shooters, we actually do see a little spike.
Right.
So I think it's more quality these days on really focusing on the game and not per se the person being entertaining.
It's the same thing that happened with YouTubers, basically. No one watches...
Exactly.
Like, no one watches PewDiePie for the games PewDiePie's playing. They're watching PewDiePie because he's PewDiePie, which is great. But it's not useful for us. As horrible as that sounds, it's not useful for us.
I like how you and I are both holding back like 10 different jokes right now.
Let me tell you.
But streaming on Steam, for instance, right now is helping us. That is bringing sales straight up for your store. It's personal. It's the developers themselves. I see that is working now. So maybe that's a new thing coming.
That's a good point, actually. On the day that Descenders was in the Steam sale, the summer sale. on the day we got a feature. So, you know, like during the summer sales, Valve pick the people who are going to get the features for that day on the front page. And when that happens, it's good. And they, during the summer sale, they had a thing for the first time where if you were featured on the front page that day and you streamed using Valve's thing, then you got front page again. Like you were on the front page of Steam for your stream. I was actually, because I'm a great publisher, I was on holiday at the time. And so I quickly messaged a developer being like, yo, drop everything you're doing and stream for 10 hours. So that's what he did. And Rule, God bless him, the main coder on Descenders, just sat at his desk and streamed Descenders for 10 hours straight. And we're pretty confident we got a ton more sales that day because it's more eyeballs, right? You're moving down the front page of Steam, and you not only see the picture of the game, and it's 15% off, but you see it in action as well. That was massively useful.
Was that made like explicitly clear that if you streamed, you would get this extra support, or is it just a thing you kind of figured out for yourself?
I mean, when do Valve ever make anything explicitly clear?
Yeah.
They said you could get more featuring, but yeah, and then it really depended how many viewers you got to store. The more you, because
it's they're calling it like beta right now, aren't they? Yeah. So the algorithm that they're using.
I see. That was the thing. You were using the word choice. Algorithm. It's an algorithm.
Yeah.
Like, there's no choice. There's no human involved.
There's never a choice.
No.
You do everything and hope that one of the things works when it comes to Steam. But yeah, that thing that we accidentally did worked really well.
And then talking more broadly about platforms, you know, Twitch, obviously the biggest, and which draws a lot of people too. Have you experimented outside of Twitch or outside of Steam as well, or you know, have you had any successes there? You know, do you think there are inroads to be made there, or can you get maybe a stronger foothold in a sort of a newly developing sort of streaming environment? Do you think?
I feel like I'm doing loads of talking.
You take this one.
Yeah.
Well, I think this one's difficult, but well, we tried YouTube as well, the live streaming part. I didn't try Discord, to be honest, very well. But YouTube didn't do much, so that one was even worse. I think Twitch was so far the best for us, and we started in April with the Steam feature, so that one was really good for us. I think that's it from my side on the streaming devices, to be honest.
I had the mixer stuff.
How is the mixer?
The
mix.
Yeah,
so Mixer is Microsoft's Twitch, basically. And it doesn't pull in as big numbers, but the interesting thing about Mixer is that it's got its own tab on the Xbox dashboard as well, which is massively useful if you've got an Xbox game. So just before Descenders was coming out on Xbox, that makes sense, I started building up, doing a lot of Mixer streaming, essentially, and they made me like a developer account on Mixer, and it meant whenever I streamed, I got the front page of Mixer. So for about 3 months, I streamed every goddamn day, and got like up to like 2,000 concurrents watching or something. And the great thing about it was that like most of them were on Xbox, and so I got into this routine of going every like sort of 20 minutes or so, going, hey, is anybody from Xbox dashboard watching? And the chat would just fill with people going, yeah. I don't know how they were doing it, because typing on a keyboard on an Xbox controller is like hell on earth. But
did it move units?
Yeah,
did
yeah.
Your streaming move?
I think it did. You could see I streamed for about 2 to 3 hours every day, and you could see during that time it was still like miniature spikes. I'm not going to make out like it did loads, but because I was doing it every day, it ended up doing pretty well for us. I've now since stopped. Because everyone cottoned on. I kept telling too many people about Mixer.
Well, I love you, but that's your problem.
Yeah. No, but I don't think it's a problem. I think if anything, because you know the way I do things is I try to get ahead of everything, so I'm one of the first people on it.
But then you go and blab it all over the internet.
I know, but I can't help it though. Because of the background I came from, writing about games and stuff. I want to like keep talking, and I can't keep my mouth shut as well. So I tell everyone about Mixer, and then I'm surprised when like 3 or 4 months later, the Mixer front page is filled with developers. And I'm like, oh no, I can't get one of the best slots anymore.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a problem. Like, you know, helping people out. I mean, you know, it's like writing a book about game dev business, potentially called the Game Dev Business Handbook.
Good job.
GameDevBizBook.com.
Shameless. Is there, when you're looking either at games you're going to make or games you're going to publish, does it factor into your thinking, is this streaming friendly? Because I know, Alex, for example, your studio, very narrative-driven games, so your relationship with streaming is going to be very different.
Yeah, our relationship with streaming has certainly been interesting because one of our previous titles, Volume, was very much designed for streaming, and that was kind of the plan with it. It's actually kind of meta because the narrative inside the game is about streaming too. Anyway, so yeah, that was several years back, and then our most recent titles, Subsurface Circular and Quarantine Circular, are both very like narrative-driven 2.5-hour titles. And our way through that was just having a little message on the menu that streamers or YouTubers click on, and it just says, hey, thank you so much for picking up this game. Yes, please go ahead and stream it, but it would be super cool if you didn't go past chapter 3. And if you did, please just put a spoiler overlay like on the game. And you know, streamers and YouTubers have been super receptive to that, and it's just having a dialogue with your audience, so that even though, you know, we very much have a game that, you know, it's completely exposed, like once if a streamer just plays it all the way through, it works out fine, because most people will understand that, like, hey, you know, there's only so much you can show before you've shown too much.
In terms of the games you're publishing or looking at, do you find yourself drawn towards certain games because they might have streaming potential? You know, like, you know, for example, sort of someone flinging themselves down a mountain on a motorbike is kind of a recipe for disaster, which I feel like people want to see in streams. You know, they want to see a bit of kind of the unexpected maybe works better on streams. Have you sort of seen anything along those lines?
What we in general see is that the games that actually have to show an emotion to actually see it's interesting, which is a lot of party games and such, they do way better when you're streaming it. So, for instance, for Tricky Towers that we're also working with, we actually see the moment you see all these people involved getting mad and funny stuff and everything together, that's when the video does way more than when it's just plain say shooter where there's not much interaction in that sense. Shooters they still like to see, but you see that the party games you actually really see a lot of audience going up and down. So that's our experience at least.
So when you're saying party games, you mean like Jackbox?
They're good.
Type?
No, actually, really, where you see the streamers also together talking and laughing and sitting either together or indeed in the chat box. Yeah. So we see that works best for us at least.
How's Not Tonight doing compared to Descenders in terms of streamers and
What number of people are streaming it, or?
I mean, just you know, like for example, Not Tonight has gotten a ton of mainstream coverage. Is that translating into like streaming, or is it like two different worlds going on?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we've had a. I think we've probably had more streamers for Not Tonight than Descenders, and interestingly, I don't know if this is interesting. I found that when people start playing Not Tonight, because it's a linear story, they do multiple streams then, and they play all the way through to the end because they want to see the end. Whereas with Descenders, which is more of like you can play it as many times as you want, and it's all procedurally generated. A lot of streamers played maybe 1 or 2 streams, and then they were like, okay, I think I've seen what I needed from this game, and they've moved on. Which was actually, like, in my head, maybe different to what I thought was going to happen. I thought maybe it would be the other way around, because I think it was mainly because I'd seen people, you know, like there's streamers who do just like 1 million episodes of one game, like Slay the Spire or whatever. They're on episode 1012, and so I'd wondered if they'll that's the way they'll do it with Descenders, but actually it's ended up being that there's tons of episodes for Not Tonight. Like people are on like episode 18 of Not Tonight now. because it ended up
Does
being a
everyone
long
know
game.
what Not Tonight is, by the way? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of surprised you haven't weaponized it. Like, to be honest, like taking Not
What,
Tonight,
on Twitch?
getting getting hate stream, like
Oh, I
just
see. Well.
50% of people watch it because.
Well,
they like it.
I was saying earlier, actually, I don't really, I don't mind pissing people off. You know, I don't. But I don't really like courting horrible people either, or a horrible feeling. So I'd rather. I can see how I could do that, and how I could turn politics into like make streamers like. But no, I think I just wasn't really interested in that, and it made me feel a bit icky.
That's mighty civil of you.
I know. I'm getting older, and I'm learning.
How do you, talking of kind of courting audiences, how do you actually find your Twitch audience? How do you work out who you're going to work with, send codes to? How do you actually build that streaming presence outside of streaming it yourself on Xbox every night? I mean, what's your sort of thought process with that?
With us, we actually make a list of streamers that are basically busy with that type of game. Then we either via Twitter or email or something try to get in contact after watching a few shows, of course, and knowing a little bit about it. And then basically we contact them and straight up send a code. We don't wait off until we straight up give it, so the barrier is as low as possible. So, but it's indie games, and it's kind of like their budgets are so small that having keys is actually the way they're using to promote their games. So
Do you monitor the success of that? Like,
so far, yeah.
Like who worked and who didn't? Or
yeah. We definitely we actually list who's picking it up, who's not, who never picks up, who responds or not. We also have a few that sometimes do videos, but we never, or they promise to do it tomorrow and then they do it a year later or something. We do make notes on that, for instance. So when they promise you I'll do it tomorrow, we'll know. I'm not going to make sure that's going to happen, because sometimes we did events together with the developers to make it a little bit more interesting for them as well. And then if only, say, 10 from the 20 show up, then you're like, God damn, I would have wanted it a little bit bigger. So in that sense, we're trying to do those events different now. It's make it easier to just step in, set something up, and then they can follow or not.
I mean, you started a streamer list many moons ago at Tiny Build. Like, is that thing still alive and breathing, or what's going on? Like, do you use that at all still?
I think Tiny Build took it down.
Aww.
Because they're not like me. They don't like sharing. But no, I do a really creepy thing. So I have a little panel on Twitter that's just like searching for every single possible term or phrase or whatever. It's just like Not Tonight or Descenders or, and there's like 100 of them or something. So I've just got this panel that's just basically all my stuff. And if I ever see, the moment I see something pop up on there where it's like someone like, oh man, saw that Not Tonight game, wonder what that's about. And I go on them and I check that they're a big streamer, and then I just DM them a key, and then I just tweet at them going, check your DMs. And that's it. And I do that over and over again. And it's weird how well that works, because by doing that, you create this you create this like weird pact where I've just sent you a key just from you tweeting, which is kind of creepy. But then the streamer will be like, whoa, that was amazing. I just tweeted about this game, and 5 minutes later I've got a key for it. So now I've got to play it because I feel obliged to. And I've been doing that for a long time, and it honestly is one of the things that works the best for me, just doing that all the time.
We do it a little bit more manual, but exactly that.
Yeah, I'm. Yeah.
Also, 2 weeks later, that entire thing is going to be useless now because he talked about it publicly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I should stop talking about things, shouldn't I? I don't do anything.
You're giving away the secrets. Stop giving away the
It's
secrets.
Do you know what? I don't mind giving away the secrets, because the secrets are always different about 4 months later.
Yeah.
All the time. All the
Welcome
time.
to the games industry.
Woo!
It just changes the game constantly, which is great.
Yeah, exactly. You've just got to always be on top, basically.
So I'm getting the general vibe that it's really happening on a kind of game-by-game basis, whether streaming is working for you or not. And as a result of that, would you say it would be foolish to build your entire model on pursuing like stream-friendly games.
Well, that was the plan 2 years ago. I mean, the common wisdom several years back was just make streaming games, streamable games. I knew several developers that did that. You've never heard of those games. So yeah, that was a strategy that existed at one point. Maybe it was just too early, and that'll come around again in a few years, and it'll make total sense. You know, I still crave every single day that 1 versus 100 comes back in some form, because that is, to me, like, you know, that is the perfect, like, streamable, like, game. If Twitch could figure out a way to just, like, make 1 versus 100 just as part of the, you know, the thing, I believe many people would play that. But yeah, making a stream-specific game is dangerous beyond belief. Like, it's been tried and failed.
That's what Descenders was nearly going to be, you know? So when I first talked to Rage Squid about Descenders, how long ago? A long time ago. 2 years, maybe? They were making Descenders be where it was focused around streaming, and when you streamed the game, the number of fans that you had cheering for you was the number of people who were watching, and you had to purposely try and get more people to be watching you to get points in the game. And at the time, I was like, this is brilliant. You're geniuses. This is going to sell loads of copies. But then when I talked to them again months later, fortunately, they were on the same page. We were all like, that's not going to work anymore. It was never going to work, but it's not. It's a bad idea. Let's not do that anymore. So they changed the game.
But
So
that's how fast this industry moves.
Yeah.
But we tried it on Facebook, and it did better there.
Oh yeah.
I've never got into Facebook streaming. I don't understand it. I'm an old man. I don't understand
Yeah.
Facebook.
There's Facebook streaming?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you do with Facebook?
Basically, we had the game run there, and when you were in the game, the people outside with emoticons, which of course Facebook is now stopping again. Basically, we had them choose which character, with Marooners it was a party game, which character would win the battle. And the one that was right, you would get points, and then with enough points, you could actually get kind of like a bomb that would like break down. You could actually tease the guy playing the game by throwing the bombs and making it more difficult for the person playing as an audience.
I'd like to see more of that. That's fun. Have you ever got into Salty Bet? Yeah, it's the sort of fight emulator which people just watch, and it plays AI matches and you bet on them, but it's between kind of literally any character. I mean, if anyone found out what their trademark characters were being used for on there, they'd probably have a fit, because it's like
It's
crazy.
And then there's the thing they do I don't know if they still do this, but they used to do on Twitch where they used to get a bunch of big streamers and they all battled out against each other, and if they lost, the loser had to lick a giant thing of salt. They were all licking this thing of salt. It's a different world, isn't it? It's the people who stream, I love them all. I love them all to bits, but it is a different world. Like,
Eating hot pepper and then talking about the game.
unfortunately, I've done that before.
You did do that.
I did. I did it with Rami while playing Nuclear Throne,
I know.
and I was ill the rest of the day. I don't remember the stream anymore. I ate the pepper,
I do.
and then it's bad news. Bad news.
I'd like to open it up to the floor. Does anyone have any questions about streaming or preparing games for streaming or working with streamers
Or anything.
or anything,
anything, just
you would
anything.
like to ask
Ask
these
any
fine
question.
people?
Just ask a question.
Jeff, you got a Brexit question?
Great.
Oh, Jay's got a question.
Oh,
Oh, no. How dare you? You can't prevent any. Let's be entirely clear. You can't prevent anything. Like, you can politely request. You can point out, hey, like, you know, this could potentially be detrimental to our game. But no, like, you know, Mike and I have, like, known each other a long time. We've played the game a long time. Like, there's nothing you can do to stop progress and stop streamers or YouTubers or anything like that. You work with the community, and working with the community is simply saying, hey, like, we would appreciate it if you only went this far. If you decide to go further, cool. Nothing we can do about it. All we're asking is, could you please put a spoiler like alert like on the game? But that's it. You can't. You work with the audience. You have to work with your customers. That's business.
And if I,
I'm sorry, but I was more asking, like, do you see a positive, like, benefit to streaming ever with your kinds of games?
I don't know.
I wanted to jump on that one, if I may.
Yeah.
So we also are working on a co-op game from WiiWare, and basically it's just kind of like digital escape room. So when you see the clue, you already know. You don't really have to play the game in that sense. So it's not per se for sales, but as it is a small game, it is giving you the coverage, the branding, everything, which is in that sense also kind of a important thing to have, especially in a series and stuff, to sell your next game. So it isn't always really bad to have a game streamed in that sense. If it's unknown, it can help you as well in your marketing later on the road.
I mean, streamer's going to stream, right? So the name of the game gets out there, and Subsurface has done incredibly well for us. Like the studio is now known for Thomas Was Alone and Subsurface Circular. Like those are the two game names that come up most often. So yeah, Subsurface came out in the age of streaming, and we're still here, and we're still doing okay. So.
Well, if there no more questions, I'm going to... Oh, sorry, there is a question. Yeah, sorry, we should have handed a mic.
Sort through fake streamers that are trying to just get a code of your game.
I've got a good answer to this one. I love getting emails from people trying to get keys who are fake. It's one of my favorite things now, because what I do is...
I want to pull up a couple right now.
So what I do is... to answer your question, to try and spot them in the first place, it's actually quite easy. You just look at the email address, and then you go on their YouTube, and if they're the real person, they'll have it in the about bit, the email address they're emailing from. And if it's not there, it's not them. You can just straight up, it's not them. The moment that you realize this, then you send them a fake key, and you spell out words in the key. But replace all of the letters with numbers. So I can't remember some of the examples, but I've sent lots of them. And I send these fake keys, and then half an hour later, they appear on G2A. And I am just blessed in the knowledge that I am upsetting the G2A status quo and making people less likely to use G2A. So really, I'm taking down two issues there, which is the best way to do things.
God, I want to say so many things right now. But no, that's brilliant. But yes, again, work with the community. You can just send them a key. A lot of times you'll get like requests for 15 keys. And it's like, nah, like I'll send you one, and that's just to brighten your day a little bit. But yes, like it is. We live inside of that. Like if you are a publisher or a developer, you get messages every single day from fake streamers.
And the same ones. That's so funny. For different games.
Yeah. Yeah, just the same, Pete. Yeah, the best thing is when you see the same email, but from like 3 or 4 different people, and it's the same goddamn email, but they've just changed the name at the top of it or something. So I send each of them different fake keys.
Wow.
And then, of course, because of the way I do things, then I post the screenshot of it to social media because I might as well get something out of it. And I usually at the YouTuber in it, and then the YouTuber sees it and goes, "That's funny, I'll retweet that." And then maybe that YouTuber might actually then request a key from me. That's happened a couple of times, where I've actually given it to the big YouTuber then, because of the joke I made.
But someone just did a story on the economy of key selling and putting it on G2A and everything like that. But that's sort of that's a very different conversation altogether. But was it rock, paper, shotgun? I don't remember who it was.
I'm not sure. I don't think it was us.
Okay.
Anyway.
It's good though.
If there are no more questions, I think we're going to wrap up. A quick round of applause for our 3 panelists.
Thanks.
Thanks for chatting, and enjoy the rest of EGX. Thanks.
Thanks for coming, everyone.